Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I want to talk about Hawkgirl. Now, Hawkgirl was a character that was created way back in the Golden Age in the pages of Flash Comics back in 1940. The character, the character initially appeared only in civilian clothes, but later on she fought alongside of Carter Hall. Her initial creation, her name was Shira Hall, and then in this incarnation, and she is Kendra Saunders, and she is the granddaughter of a famous explorer archaeologist called Speed Saunders, and Speed Saunders is a nod to the character that was created way back in the days of the initial Action Comics line where Superman first appeared. All right, so this series appeared in the regular Hawkman title, and it ran for 16 issues. This is the graphic novel collection of those 16 issues. And it featured some of the best artists in the business. Best artists, best writers in the comic book business, and they are, of course, Walt Simonson and Howard Chaykin. The initial 6 issues were drawn, interior and cover art, by Howard Chaykin. The later issues, the cover art was mostly by Chaykin. The interior art varied between Renato Arlem and Walt Simonson himself. All right, so we can look through, and you can get a sense of um, the series. The artwork of the color is phenomenal in this. Um, the artwork, as you can see, interior art is Chaykin's. He uses a lot of this, which is a kind of close-up of the faces of the characters, combined with the sequential action. He in almost every section and page, you can see he has these small panels where he looks at the faces of each of the characters. This initial sequence is simply a dream, a kind of premonition that Kendra Saunders, aka Hawkgirl, has. And then we have the regular story continuity. Basically, Kendra Saunders, like her predecessor Shira Hall, is an archaeologist, and she works out of a museum in New Orleans. There you can see the Chaykin. He wants to capture the emotions and expressions of the characters as they're in dialogue. He superimposes those images over the panels. It's a unique style that's all his own. And we're introduced to a hint of the villain of the piece. The artwork is, as I say, easily distinctive. You can see the style. This is a kind of an urban fantasy legend, and here in this first 6-issue arc that's compiled here in this graphic novel, we see how the writer basically takes the themes of New Orleans and voodoo and horror and integrates it into this urban fantasy world of Hawkgirl, Kendra Saunders. And here we're introduced to the villain of the piece, a guy named Christopher Roderick, who really is an incarnation of the, as you'll see later on in the story arc, an incarnation of the character who eventually created Hawkman, a character named Hathset. One of the intriguing premises of the Hawkman, Hawkwoman, Hawkgirl series is the Egyptian theme that you see throughout the story, and the you have to be careful in editing this. The villainess of the piece is really a monster that's comes out of the New Orleans kind of milieu of horror, and is the main villain of this story arc. Eventually, the villain is captured, and then the story arc continues from there. Hathset is the arch villain of both Hawkman and Hawkgirl mythos. So, who is Walt Simonson? Well, Walt Simonson was born in 1946. He entered comic books early in the 1970s when he caught the eye of DC publisher Carmine Infantino. His work on Asano Natobi, a Manhunter, got him his first artistic acclaim. People started noticing him. When he began working on the Thor title for Marvel Comics, he became even more well known to comics readers and collectors. He did some art chores in these later issues of Hawkgirl, as you'll see. This is cover art. You'll see the signature. That's Simonson's signature. The cover art here is by Walt Simonson. In this story arc, it's the return of Hawkman. And Hawkman takes a hiatus. We start off with the backdrop of the Ran Thanagar civil or war between the two planets. And these six prisoners are set free by this villainess called Blackfire. And one of them is sent to Earth to confront Shira Hall, or Kendra Saunders, the Hawkgirl, and manages to capture her and imprison her in this story arc. The art here is by Renato Arlem, but as we flip through, you'll get to see Renato Arlem is a very good artist, as you can see, with details on backdrops, the angle of the image, as you can see here. You can see the story is by Walt Simonson, the art in this case is by Joe Bennett, one of the better artists to draw, better than your average artist to draw for DC Comics. And here an execution is planned, and beautiful splash page spread. Great use of story continuity and panel continuity. You can see from this to this. Beautiful splash page superimposed over the continuity. Easy to read as you're reading through the story. In this scene, you see flashbacks, you see Hawkman, again, you see the Egyptian mythos. Ever since in the 1930s, Howard Carter, the famous archaeologist, discovered relics and mummified remains of ancient Egypt. It's always been a mythos that's been captured through the comic books, especially in the Hawkman series, right from the early on. Hawkman's initial incarnation happened in right at the very beginning in ancient Egypt, about 3,500 years ago, when he was the first incarnation, was killed by Hatset, this evil priest. Here in this issue, Batman makes a cameo appearance in helping Hawkgirl. There's the villainous Blackfire. Confronts Hawkgirl. And there's Hawkman. This particular arc of or issue, this chapter was drawn and written by Walt Simonson, and you can see Simonson's very dynamic, expressive style. The writer-artist Walter Simonson. Images of the faces, the details, capturing almost the look of the character that was initially created way back in the 1960s by Joe Kubert. And there's Blackfire. This is a use of coloring, and this is the Simonson's version of the Absorbiscon. Good close-up look. Yeah, all Simonson. And again, writer-artist Walt Simonson. So for these two issues, you get to see Simonson at his best. Simonson was always excellent. He was always intrigued. I was surprised to learn that he was always intrigued by, even before he started drawing Thor, by Norse mythology and mythology per se. He was well suited to draw this particular series. Captures the character beautifully. Hawkman always had some of the best artists working on the title, on his title. So one can't complain. Some of the best artists, some of the best writers working on the title. All right. This is all Simonson's use of paneling, sequential art. And these panels and scenes, we see Kendra Saunders finally getting reunited with Hawkman. And here we're back to Renato Arlem art, and it's basically telling you the story of Hatset. And there we have the Egyptian story arc again. It's kind of the story arc that kind of hovers over the entire 16-issue run of Hawkgirl within the pages of the Hawkman title. All right, in this scene, Hatset, the evil mummy, ancient Egyptian priest, takes over, and here we have the original covers for the titles. So this is the Hawkgirl number 57, 58, all Chaykin. And this is 59, and this is Simonson for the JSA classified number 21, number 22, number 60. Again, using the Egyptian theme. All right, so that's volume 2. This is volume 3 with cover art by Walt Simonson. And so a little bit about Chaykin. So Chaykin was born, Howard Chaykin was born in 1950. His distinctive style began to be noticed by collectors when he created for Marvel Comics characters like Dominic Fortune, Monarch Starstalker, and for the short-lived Atlas Seaboard comics, he created Scorpion. But his only his best-known personal work is a character called American Flag with 2 G's. The character has all the characteristics one would expect to find in Chaykin's artwork, with that the panels that you saw there, and which it captures, in my view, captures the essence and expressions of the characters. So this one starts off with the covers, and the covers of the original stories. So this is number 61, and then we're introduced to the interior artwork of Renato Arlem. And the story is basically recounting this invasion by this giant kind of, I don't know what, not a cyborg, but a giant robot, almost like a giant Shogun warrior type character. And it's really Hawkgirl with the assistance of these guys, the Blackfire's buddies, I guess, that try to capture the evil monster. And this is number 63. And this is where Batman makes his appearance. And this basically tells how Batman and Hawkgirl captures or discovers that Hath Set is behind everything. Basically what he's doing is possessing the bodies of average people and forcing them to work on his behalf, almost like controlling them, almost like osmosis kind of thing. So Batman makes his cameo and supporting role here, Superman in the next issue. Superman and Hawkman really fit well together because both are based on space opera science fiction. Hawkman, of course, is a multi-valent type character because of both his influences from the Egyptian mythos, which is combined well in this story, because this story is really about the confrontation with Hatset, the arch-villain of the entire Hawkman series. I think if you tend to look only at who Hawkman is, how he was created, you can get lost in the mythos of the character, because he's not, timeline-wise, he doesn't flow as easily as some of the other superheroes. However, if you take each story arc on its own merits, invariably the stories are always well written, well worth the collection. So there we go. And there's Hawkgirl facing off against Hatset, her archenemy. All right. There we have again a return to Egypt in this issue, and a direct confrontation and battle between Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and Hawkman's arch-villain, the one who basically created him in the first place, Hatset. And there's a flashback to the original Shira Hall. And the theme of reincarnation is what you see in a lot of these stories. Nonetheless, my thing is take each story arc on its own merits and read them as such, and you'll never get lost. All right, so there he is. The final battle between Hatset and Hawkgirl. You can see the continuity and the battles. You leave here in the minimal text and lots of sound effects. And anytime you read a good comic book, you have to read it with the sound effects. Otherwise, you don't get the benefit of both the art and the text, as comic books are meant to be read. All right, so that's that. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on one of the, I think one of the seminal superheroes. It started way back at the zenith of the golden age back in 1940 in the pages of Flash Comics. And that's Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And again, remember to comment. And thanks everyone for your subscriptions. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, always remember, feel free to comment. Thanks. Bye.